How's it going, everybody? RyeSquad here today, and we are here with the Calgary Flames in episode 0, the episode where I'm going to break down the Calgary Flames for you guys. We're going to talk about the direction to take this team and just how you want to see this franchise mode operated. You guys have been pumped for this one. I am too. And if you are excited, can we get this video to 20 likes? That's the goal for the episode 0 right now, so we can maybe roll in strong to episode number 1. And if you're new here, just joining, Calgary Flames fans, welcome. Make sure to hit that subscribe button because we are on the road to 4,000 subscribers as well. And you guys have given me a ton of support in 2024, and I am pumped, excited, and you guys can tell I'm eager to get into this one. And in this one, guys, in this mode, we're doing something a little bit different than I'm used to doing. We are going to have owner mode on. Yes, it's not a mode that I play with very often. Owner mode, you know, sometimes muddies the water with upgrading and maintaining. I do have auto upgrade and maintain on, so we don't have to worry too much about that. I did love to do this as a kid, right? I loved owner mode growing up. I used to set all the prices with the smiles. NHL 06 owner mode was like ingrained in my head. I played that all the time. But you guys can see, our national popularity is very low, and Calgary Flames fan morale is very low, especially around some of your players. Hello, Jonathan Huberdeau. Can you register a point? I think there was a crazy stat that sometime between November 30th and whenever Huberdeau registered a point, Nathan McKinnon had 27. I saw that one. Yeah, Calgary Flames fans, I'm here for you. I'm feel for you, and I really want to see the Calgary Flames become a great team. They have amazing jerseys, amazing colors. Love the Saddle Dome, just a really cool looking arena for me. I don't know how old it is or anything like that. Maybe I don't think you can replace it with, yeah, we could propose relocation, if I wanted to, but, yeah, okay, he rejected it. I turned that off, that he would accept it every time. So I thought maybe we could stay in Calgary and maybe redo the arena, but it doesn't matter. Because in today's episode, guys, it's just episode 0. We're going to poke around the team. We're not going to get into any simulation, right? I want to take a look at what we have and what we're rocking with. So the first thing I actually want to do, because this is going to matter, are look at our scouts and our coaches, right? With owner mode on, some of you that maybe never play with owner mode, that staffing salary, well, that actually matters. You can only give so much money to everybody. And our head coach is an A- here, actually pretty good A+ teaching. Hawley here, Anthony Hawley, wow, fiery hair, fits the Flames. I guess he was born for the job. But A+ teaching is really good with A offense and defense. Power play being a B, A-, and then a B coach influence means he's not really the greatest at coaching other coaches, but as a generalist, I kind of like that. He's going to pretty much help everybody develop and grow, and he fits the scheme pretty well. I like that. I like the standard offensive pressure. Yeah, this looks pretty good. Weak side lock, interesting. Not a huge fan of forward line 1. Forward line 2, though, that's pretty good. Forward line 3 and then 4. I think those are fine. Forward line 1 is a little bit disappointing. We'll have to look for X factors probably to get us a solid +5 there. But with the defensive pairings, pinched balance is good. Balance, and then hold the line balance makes it really unique too. The fact that we won't be able to let our defensemen shuffle up and down the lines as much as we want, right? So whether a guy's on pairing 3 or 1, I've had times where they're pretty much all the same, or it's balanced, right? So it doesn't really matter. But with hold the line versus pinch, that's going to be a big difference there. So when we go out and acquire third pairing defensemen or pencil somebody into the third pairing, we're going to have to keep that in mind. And speaking of penciling them into the third line, we also have player morale turned on. Something that I have tended to keep off, just because sometimes it's annoying to have them talk and complain for more ice time, especially when you become a juggernaut of a team. But really, I think morale is going to be fun. Gives us a little bit more storyline instead of me having to spin the wheel, which was awesome in my Columbus Blue Jacket series. If you guys haven't seen that one, make sure to click the card right now. But that was so much fun. Sad to see that one end, but I'll play that one on my own time, and I'll update you when I can. Those of you that have been around the channel know that was a very fun franchise mode for us to do. But let's just take a look at the lines. Let's just take a look, see what's rocking here. And honestly, the +5 with Lindholm centering both Jonathan Huberdeau and Kadri. I know these two contracts aren't the greatest in real life. 8 years left at $10.5 million, right? So we have this season +7 more for Jonathan Huberdeau. And then Nazem Kadri at 32, only an 85, has 6 years at $7 million. So that's not great. But the fact that they get a +5 together, mostly thanks to these They're X factors, right? Do they all have magnetic? Is that why their X factor chemistry line contributor is magnetic? But we got a playmaker, and a two-way forward, so hopefully one of them is able to score. On the second line, we've got Andrew Mangiapane, 27-year-old two-way forward. Yes, I have Fog of War on too, guys, so our scouts will be important. I will have to take some time to focus on that. You won't have to worry about it because I will make sure to cut it out of the video, but Mangiapane here has got 2 years left at 5.8. Maybe somebody that if we do decide to tear it down is a guy that we could look to move on from. And that's the first question I have for you guys. Should we tear down the roster? Should we retool it, which means keep it and kind of make a small acquisition here or there? Or I don't think this makes sense, but with this team, but should we push for the playoffs and push for wins and push for the cup right now, giving up future assets? I don't think that makes the most sense. Our core is older. I think we are kind of in need of a teardown. Tanev at 33. He's really high on the trade board. It looks like he's balanced shoot as well. So he's only ever going to fit the second line all that well. Noah Hannafin does need a new contract. Do we extend him? Do we get rid of him? He can definitely fetch us some nice assets at 85. Top 4 potential. Oliver Shillington here just returned. I believe I'm happy to hear about his battle with his mental health, that he's doing better, that he's now back on the team. I think he's on LTIR, actually. I just took a look before this, but offensive defenseman here looks very good, well-rounded. It's the kind of guy that I would love to see slot up here, maybe instead of Tanev. Maybe the first thing we do is move on from Tanev at 33 and an expiring contract. Feels like no matter what, well, unless we chose to go for the cup, I feel like he's definitely the kind of player that I would want to move on from right now. And then Jordan Osterley here is just a depth 7th defenseman kind of vibe, 6th defenseman. I didn't even mention Mackenzie Weegar, another one of those contracts, 8 years at 6.25, so we're locked in there. And then Rasmus Andersson has got a 3-year, $4.5 million deal. That is an absolute steal for Rasmus Andersson at 87, medium top 4. Love the look of this guy. I think he's going to be our number 1 defenseman for years to come. Maybe pair him with Hannafin. They don't get the +5, but I think that is a pairing I could work with. So maybe we move on from Mackenzie Weegar. He is exact elite, right? So it's tough because we're rated decently. We've got enough decent pieces signed to long-term deals, but do we want those guys? Can we maybe move them? And do you guys mind if I end up moving like Huberdeau, who's 8 years at $10.5 million, as long as somebody's giving me what we would perceive to be a fair value trade in this universe? Jacob Markstrom is in goal, 33 years old, $6 million per year for 3 more seasons, including the one we're about to enter. 86, I'm fine with that. Dan Vladar, I think he's a solid backup. He's definitely serviceable. As far as scratched players, I mean, Jacob Pelletier at 22, actually, as a two-way forward, looks really good. Wish his defensive category was a bit better, but he's got great puck skills, good offensive awareness, a really good shot, too. So this is definitely the kind of guy I would like to have playing pretty much every night if we can. Injuries are on. I turned him down to 10. We might tweak it as we go, but like I said, guys, we're keeping everything on. Owner mode's on, so I do have to listen to the owner as well as you guys. So the fans in the comment section as well as the owner, I have to balance your requests. But we can see our owner goals now before we go jump into the contracts. So he wants to acquire a first-round pick. So he says we are a seller. He wants us to acquire a first-round pick, win the home opener, and then get 30. I'm sorry. I think we are a team that can compete, but we are a seller, and I want you to get a first-round pick. I guess owners are realistic in Shell. But next thing we need to do is I want to take a look at the contract status of everybody, right? Who is expiring? So who are the pure trade pieces? Elias Lindholm here. Listen, he's 28. He's absolutely a stud on that top line. 92 passing, 91 offensive awareness, defensive awareness. God, he is insane. He is absolutely the kind of player I would be looking for to... Oh my God, and he only wants 4 years at $6 million. I could get him for maybe 5.8 for 4 years for my number 1 center. He could transition to be my number 2 center. But Noah Hannafin, we already talked about him on the expiring contract. He wants sub 5, so that could be another good contract. We might be able to keep most of the core around. Christopher Tanev, I wonder what teams would give us. Yeah, I don't necessarily want to give him 3 years at 4.5 for a 33-year-old defenseman. Now, he's solid for sure, but Shillington does not want to come back, and Dubé, I think, just took a leave of absence in real life. So we'll see how that one goes. But he's somebody that I also may want to trade away at 25, 81. He's at making 2.3 right now. He's probably going to ask, 2.4, 2.5. Probably not worth the 2 million when Ruzicka here is a UFA. I can't extend him because he probably just signed his contract or something like that. I don't really know, but I cannot offer him an extension just yet. Probably January 1st I will be able to. Mark Pysyk here is playing in the minors as a defensive defenseman. So if I traded away Tanev, Pysyk would immediately come up. In fact, he's better than Osterley is right now. Pelletier is an expiring contract. So the question is, can we lock him down for a few? Yes, oh my God, we can give him 8 years, 1 million. He'll be permanent depth on this roster. I think that's easily a contract I will do. Then we have AJ Greer here, 78 overall power forward. He is 26. I saw the little bit of potential, didn't see the age. So take a look at the goaltenders. Wolf is expiring as well. We probably want to leave Dustin Wolf in the minors. We don't want to rush him up. He's medium elite. And I definitely think I want to give him a contract offer of a good amount of years. Probably, the question is, right, when is he going to be ready to go? Do we give him a 4-year deal at 3.5? I feel like that's a solid deal. He'd be 26. I think would he still be a UFA at the end of that? No, he would be he would be a UFA. He would not be an RFA. We can give him 3 years, 3 million, still keep him as an RFA, and then we could bridge him right to the end of RFA. But what I think I want to do first now, or next, I should say, is take a look at the proposed trade. Where do we potentially pick up that first round pick? Potentially Mackenzie Weegar. Nazem Kadri actually has decent enough value. Jonathan Huberdeau doesn't have too much value. It's definitely 8 years at age 30 that's killing him. Noah Hannafin probably has more trade value if we give him a contract. And then we've got Chris Tanev here. Not going to fetch us much, but Elias Lindholm. We could get him under 6. That's the thing. He would be so good if we did, too. But potentially, we go to the Coyotes and say, do you want Elias Lindholm? Can we get your first round pick? That looks like it would work. We'd get the Coyotes first. They'd get Lindholm. Maybe we want to trade out in the East, maybe go to Buffalo, a team willing to give up a couple picks here. They want a first and a second. I could do that, and then they'd have more than 45 skaters, but we'd figure it out, right? That kind of thing. Maybe Elias Lindholm would be a fantastic acquisition for Buffalo. I think that would be so cool in real life. Obviously, I am a Sabres fan. It's hiding here behind the mic, but unfortunately, I am a Sabres fan. No trades found for Elias Lindholm, really. What about Chris Tanev? What are people offering out for Chris Tanev? Harrison in a third, Lysell in a fifth, a third, fourth, and Sealer, third, fourth, and Burrows, Schmidt and 2/3, Torgerson and Schmidt, and then there we go. We're back to Harrison in a third. So we'll just edit the trade. I'm not going to make any trades just yet. But obviously Harrison here, what kind of value are we looking at? A 20-year-old who's got... No, come on, Boston. I'm not that bad at this game. Come on. Anyway, I really don't think... I'd probably have to craft my own trade for Elias Lindholm. I think he's worth more than what we're getting in offers. I think he's actually worth quite a bit. If you look at him as just an 88, you're really missing the point of who Elias Lindholm is in this game. He's a guy that can do everything, right? He's got X Factor, Schneip, Magnetic. He's got Yoink, Quick Draw, and No Contest, right? Those are fantastic two-way abilities. He's going to be able to score goals, possess the puck, and get it back. That is huge. Plus the face-off dot, 86 face-offs. Guys, I really don't want to move on from Elias Lindholm. I really, really don't. I would love to give him an extension. He is, to me... he's 28 though. It's the question of, really, it depends on what you guys think, because our owner wants a first, and he thinks we're a seller. I kind of want to do a complete teardown, but with Huberdeau and Kadri fetching us almost nothing likely because of their contract status. Plus, add in the fact that Elias Lindholm is our most valuable player, and is expiring, right? He'd have more trade value personally. Vegas is a buyer. We could send him to Vegas. I don't want to send him to Vancouver. Those guys are over the cap. Who is a buyer that has cap space? Anybody? Any buyers have cap space? Anybody? Conservative buyer? Wow, really? Nobody's got cap space. Maybe, you know what? I could retain half of his salary here. And then that would free up, I think, about 2.5-ish million if I retain just 1 year of Elias Lindholm. We're not really in a cap crunch. We'd still have 4.4. And then we could probably get him to go. I mean, the Detroit Red Wings are a conservative buyer. I don't think they're Elias Lindholm away, although they are pretty good. That would really, really be stacking their talent. But we could easily get a first from the Bruins and a second. Maybe their first next year, right? If they decide not to re-sign him, we maybe could get 2 firsts for Elias Lindholm. I think that'd be a little bit crazy, but getting the Bruins first, because they're going to be good, and the Red Wings first next year, that might be a bit much, right? But you see where I'm thinking, right? We can get a couple high picks here for Elias Lindholm. And then we can sell off other players on top of that and let our youngsters develop, right? Like Pelletier and Zari and those players. We can see our rookie skaters right now coming up in the pipeline. Coronado, 77 at 20. That's not great. He is a sniper. He doesn't have a great shot. That's definitely a player that I'm looking to move. I think Matt Coronado is definitely not ever, like, in the sim. I think he's got great puck skills, is good offensive awareness. His shot is not good enough at age 20 with only medium top 6. His defensive category is not good. He's not the best skater. He's one of those guys that feels like more trade value than actual value to the team. Hanzik here, though, Samuel Hanzik, definitely as a power forward, looks like he's got plenty of room to grow. I mean, what is he? 71 at 18. Definitely somebody that 6'4", 195, maybe fill out a bit more, grow in a little bit of every category. He's got 2 years, really, before I'm begging him to come up. And then on the blue line, right, finding a blue line prospect, Jeremy Poirier, offensive defenseman, looks like he's got great puck skills and offensive awareness. The shot's decent. The skating is good. The defensive category, the awareness needs to improve. But that shot blocking and stick checking is actually pretty good. So a year in the minors, and he probably is ready to come up to the NHL. Obviously, you guys know I mentioned Dustin Wolf already. 79 overall, medium elite, 22-year-old. Is expiring, but at 22 and 79, he's somebody I absolutely am on the lookout for to come up and play for us in the future, maybe even near future, right? Probably back up by next season, right? We could maybe move on from Vladar at the end of the year. In the offseason, move Vladar to a team that needs a fringe starter or just a team that needs a backup. So I personally, I'm excited about this, guys. If you haven't been able to tell, I'm leaning towards full teardown, tank, and go for the top of the draft class here. See if we can get, Zykov here, Dmitry Zykov, Timofey Varlamov. There's Berkeley Catton as well. These 3 guys at the top. We'll see how they end up. But I think Dmitry Zykov, we'll scout him, right? We'll have to scout everybody, but we'll really know once our scouts get to work. But I am leaning more towards just tearing it down. We could also sign a couple free agents. Who's still out there as a free? I think Shane Pinto is a RFA. Yes, he is. We could go after Shane Pinto. He got reinstated, but they didn't have him signed, I guess. At 22, what does he want? 1.4 million. If I offered him 1.4 for 2 years, it would be no picks required, which would be great. Jonathan Toews, Corey Perry, who just signed the other day with the Edmonton Oilers. Phil Kessel is out there. We could bring in Zach Parise. He's listed as an 82. I doubt Eric Stahl is an 82, to be honest. Again, fog of war. We are going to have to deal with this and not having everybody fully scouted and understood. I can still turn that off, but we would have a different coach and things like that. Actually, can I turn it off in the middle of the save? I will check that. I don't think I can. So we'll just plan on not doing that for now. But honestly, guys, episode 0, pretty quick one. I know I've talked for almost 20 minutes now, but really, I think this team, it's got some pieces. I'd love to keep Lindholm, but he's the best thing we have if we really want to tear it down. He's going to get us the most assets. Probably a first-round pick and a young prospect. I would love to get him, maybe a third, and a prospect that's in close, right? Like a 79 at 20, maybe. Somebody like that range who's a medium top 6. I think that could be really, really good for us. Dylan Dubé, I believe, is expiring. Yep, so we can move on from him. He doesn't have too much value, but we might be able to get a third. Probably more so a prospect out of the deal there. And then, I didn't even mention Igor Sharangovich. I mean, he's a solid player. One more season after this one at 3.1 million. he feels like the kind of guy you just kind of keep around. He plays on your top line and he does well, raises his trade value, and then we can move on from him in the offseason. He really is a well-rounded player. I really don't know what's bringing him down to an 81. Looking around his stats, I guess I don't know. He's 5 stars or 4.5 stars. We got him fully scouted because he is our player, right? And he fits the second line the best. But even if we put him on the first line, say we get rid of Lindholm and keep Kadri and Huberdeau, I mean, that's a +5 right there. We could tear down and move on from Backlund, who I know has a 2-year extension coming after this one. But if I moved on from him, I think that's fine. He's a great defensive forward. I think somebody would pay a second-round pick for a guy like Michael Backlund. Mangiapane, we could keep him as well, but at $5.8 million for him, he looks well-rounded enough, but at $5.8 million, probably somebody I'd like to get rid of. Blake Coleman at 31. He's signed for 4 years at $5 million. Again, another player I could clear just because cap space, it's not there for us. Really, it's crazy how we have $2 million in cap space. I know we do jump up to 27 next year, but we have to sign quite a few players. So I don't know. And then I didn't even mention the blue line with Tanev and Hanifin and maybe Mackenzie Weegar. He's somebody I always target like in the first year in my rapid rebuilds or just in my personal rebuild series. So maybe he's somebody that could fetch us something decent. Mackenzie Weegar, you can see he's got that exact elite at 87. Does have those X factors, but at 29, 8 years left. I mean, we could get Jeremy Swayman in a third. Wow, okay, 2 seconds. Anthony Cirelli? Jeremy Swayman in a third for Mackenzie Weegar. I mean, Jeremy Swayman has got 1 year left at high elite. He's an 88 overall. This makes Markstrom expendable, and we get a third for Mackenzie Weegar? Does Swayman have an extension? No, he doesn't. I would have to extend him, but an 88 feels awfully high. But I mean, this is the kind of value we're talking about here. It really is shocking to see just how much value there is out there. They don't have their first. We saw it was in Detroit. Rookie skaters, do they have anybody there? Poitras? He's definitely not an 87. I can tell you that right now. He's not an 87 overall. He's 3-bar medium elite. His trade value, we don't know exactly, right? So that's the thing. We'd have to scout some of these guys. That's the interesting thing about Fog of War is that you do have to scout these guys before you go ahead and make just trades on the fly. So it is going to have to make me think and plan ahead a bit more, but I'm excited for it. I think it'll be fun. I think Fog of War is something that I've always avoided because it's just so nice to know everything. But why don't we give it a try? We'll see how it goes. And I think it should be pretty good. And I just wanted to check really quickly. I don't have to restart the save just to turn off Fog of War. So if we didn't want Fog of War on, we could absolutely turn that off if you guys don't think it makes a good viewing experience, if you would prefer to see everybody's stats and ratings, to see if I maybe fleece somebody or get fleeced, right? Because we don't have them scouted or we have them fully scouted and they're not asking for enough or they are overvaluing one of our guys. Things like that, right? But I mean, Swayman for Weegar in a third. I mean, that's a crazy trade right there. I mean, we might be able to revitalize this roster, but I may want to just tear it down. So we got option A, tear it down completely and tank. Trade everybody. Option B, do a couple maneuver trades to kind of retool, keep Lindholm, extend him and Hanifin, move on from Tanev, maybe move on from Weegar and keep Tanev, that kind of thing. Get Swayman, move on from Markstrom. Those are the kinds of trades I'd be doing if we were retooling, and then push for the cup. And don't trade guys like Weegar. Trade our picks, which I didn't check how many picks we had. Please tell me we're not in a pick crunch. Okay, we're good. We got all of our picks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We don't have our 7th. And then we have the Panthers first next year. So we don't have our first next year. We do have our first this year. So if we decided to tank, this is the year to do it. We could also try and get our first round pick back next season. But hey, you never know what's going to happen next season. Maybe we win the lottery, we get the #1 overall player, and he's amazing, and all of a sudden we just dominate, right? Pairing him with Huberdeau. Huberdeau's putting up 120 points. I know Calgary fans wish, but I hope so too. But I really want to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comment section. I love hearing what you guys want to do next. The owner wants a first round pick. I think it'd be smart for us to kind of tear it down. I'm picking option A, completely tear it down, trading Huberdeau, Kadri, Lindholm, Weegar, just trading them all and figuring out what could happen after that. But I want to hear your thoughts. Give me some convincing arguments down in the comment section. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this one, guys. Subscribe if you want to see some more, and I will see you guys in episode 1.
It's a free-for-all before we fall. It's a free-for-all before we fall. Took some L's, but I guess you can't win them all. Getting busy, been so busy, but always